I am super duper cereal.
All right. Welcome to Super Serial once again. I'm here with Johnny again. We got some better audio and video situations now. Johnny's in a new locale as well.
Yup,
Thanks for coming on again,
of
dude.
course.
Um, Today we're talking about all the sexual scandals that are going on in Hollywood. There's uh there's quite a few of them. I know you haven't been keeping up on them. I know you're not you don't have your sexual assault ticker running, but that's all right. We don't need to go into the details. This is going to be more of a general
Yeah.
talk, I think.
I mean, the Bill
But
Cosby stuff
first,
I know a little more about, but I don't know anything really about the Kevin Spacey thing going on.
yeah, it's a lot more. I mean, I guess so. I guess. All right. First, let's do a little bit of role playing. You down for
Okay.
that? Okay. For all right, I need you to answer a question though first.
Right.
What would your dream job be?
Dream job?
Yeah.
Uh, Dream job. I don't know. Probably be a Twitch streamer. I guess. I think that would be really cool. Just play video games.
Okay, cool. All right. So Mr. Twitch, the Mr. Twitch comes to you,
Mhm.
okay, and is like, Johnny, um, listen, I really like your personality. You know, you're a decent gamer. I want to give you one of our top spots. We want to draft you to be a Twitch streamer.
Mhm.
Does that sound good?
Yeah.
Cool, but here's the thing. Uh, gonna need you to suck my dick. Um, what do you think? Are you down? That's the deal. You either do it or you got to work your way from the ground up like everybody else.
I think I'm delivering paint for Joey and working my way up.
Okay. I think it's a good answer. It's a good answer. So the reason that I put you through that little scenario there is because apparently that type of shit goes down in Hollywood
Yeah.
where they offer parts to people for sexual favors, which I guess that kind of thing's inevitable, right?
Yeah. Yeah. No, absolutely. I mean, I come from a way different perspective than any of those guys do, but I just it's so creepy to even ask somebody, like, how do you broach that subject? It's like, hey,
Well, you for sure have to be a sociopath. I think
yeah,
that's
for
assumed,
real.
right? Um, I don't know, man. They're definitely. I mean, for sure, we have a psychological issue, a mental health problem in our country, and I think it's manifesting itself in a lot of different ways. One of them being, um, mass
Hmm.
shootings, um, the opiate epidemic that's going on, and another one is all the sexual weird stuff that's going on. I mean, I've always been in the camp that it's like, I don't want to have a sexual experience with somebody who is not down.
Right. Yeah.
Like, like if I have to force you, that kind of ruins it for
Yeah,
me.
for real.
So I don't, right off the bat, like I do not understand that perspective of like coercing somebody into doing
Yeah.
something.
It's like how you not feel like an absolute creep while it's going down.
Yeah, I mean that's I don't know. Like so all right, so let's remove all that. So you're a sociopath, you don't understand that your actions have consequences, that other people have feelings the same way that you do. You think other people might as well be are NPCs,
Hmm.
basically. Non-player characters that they don't have their own autonomy. They're just out there for you to bounce around,
Right.
bounce off of, whatever. I mean, it's like I still can't wrap my head
Yeah,
around it.
for
I
real.
still can't wrap my head around I mean, Kevin Spacey, I guess what he did was he just like forced himself on a bunch of dudes. Like was all like I guess the things I heard about was like he was drunk and
Uh,
was just like I don't think he actually like raped anyone. I think he just kind of like rubbed his junk on some people.
yeah, because
Like
it was like sexual
I
assault
don't
technically, right? I didn't hear anything about rape. It
I
was just
guess. I
sexual
mean,
assault.
my biggest problem with a lot of this stuff is that it's like, okay, somebody sexually assaults you,
Mhm.
aren't you like supposed to go to the police?
Yeah. Yeah, for real.
Isn't that isn't that like the go-to move when you get like somebody breaks the law and you're the victim, you like
Go to the
go to the
police
police?
immediately, not wait 30 years like everything that happened with Bill Cosby. Like, how do you come back 30 years
Yeah,
later and try to say some crazy shit?
yeah.
Like, it's insane.
Well, I mean, I think that all right, so Bill Cosby, I kind of don't want to talk about the Bill Cosby thing specifically because Bill Cosby like straight up raped a whole bunch of women, like straight up. But the more modern stuff that's going on, the stuff that's happening like right now, and I mean not that's happening right now, but a lot of these new allegations that are coming out are things that are like not like for sure not rape.
Yeah.
There's no way. You can't just, and the other problem is too, you can't just go throwing that word around
Yeah.
because it starts to lose its meaning when you just use it for every little
Right.
thing. Like if you're like, oh, that guy hit on me and I wasn't down for it, that's basically rape because I felt violent. Like, no,
Yeah, you could
you
be
can't
throwing
do
that word
that.
around like that.
You really can't just throw that word
Yeah.
around. But my whole thing is that it's like, so all right, do you know about the Louis C.K. thing?
He was basically baiting in front of a bunch of chicks. That was
Yeah, he would ask their
yeah.
permission,
Yep.
and I guess like 5 women said yes, and he did it, and afterward they were like, that wasn't cool what he did. So I guess like that's a tough one because like he asked permission.
Hmm.
So one might argue that like you asked permission, you got
Yeah.
consent, you're in the
Yeah.
clear.
No, that's
But but the problem apparently is that he was in like a higher up position socially or something than them.
yeah.
So he like coerced them with his power. Like they felt pressured to say yes. And I don't really get how that's his problem.
It's not his problem at all. They consent.
But
That
he,
simple. Like, it doesn't matter
yeah, like
if like fucking
how is that his
yeah.
fault?
No,
Like regardless,
it's
I don't.
not. How do you, just because you feel pressured into something. Like if you go fucking rob a bank, if like some famous person was like, "Yo, Johnny, let's go rob a bank," like fucking Michael Jordan or something, I'm like, "Oh, it's Michael Jordan. I gotta
And
do
you're
it.
like, damn,
I gotta do it. It's
damn, I
Michael
want
Jordan."
Michael Jordan to like me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then after that, let me jerk off while you want. Like, okay,
Yeah, that's yeah, I don't that I mean, aside from how
let's do
weird
what
it
those
is
Raptors
to
said.
have the desire to want to just beat off in front of somebody
Yeah.
and to go no further with it, that's super
Right.
weird. But aside from all that, like so he for sure did not rape anybody. He didn't even touch anybody. He just like took his junk out
Yeah.
and after they gave him consent and now like all his deals are done.
Oh, he
He's
really
like
lost like
done for
endorsements and
a
shit
while.
like that for it.
Dude, he lost everything's just shut down for him
Rip.
now.
That sucks.
It's really not cool, man.
Yeah.
I'm not like I think it's
It
messed
is.
up because first of all, Louis C.K. his like mad of his comedy has been about like how screwed up he is and how he can't function in society. Like all his shows that he's the like you ever watch Louis?
Yeah. Yeah. I've seen a bunch of episodes.
That shows about him not being able to function properly
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
society.
Yep.
So I'm not like shocked to find this stuff
Yeah.
out, but I don't understand why he's getting. And then like Bryan Cranston, who every is
Yeah.
universally loved, right? I guess he like defended Louis and was like, I don't know what he said exactly, but he defended him in some kind of way or said something like, I don't know, I don't understand how this is getting lumped in. He kind of said probably said I don't know exactly what he said. I probably should have looked into it, but I didn't.
Yeah.
But now people are attacking Bryan Cranston for not totally hating Louis for what he did. And that just goes to show you that there is a witch hunt going on. That like, I mean, I guess it's not a witch hunt because these people actually did stuff they shouldn't have
Mhm.
done, but people are clearly freaking out and overreacting about every little thing they can get their hands on
Oh, it's a
just
wall.
because that's what's happening.
I was like, damn,
You
I can't
know,
think of who Bryan
like
Cranston is, and I fucking heard that name. I just looked it up on my phone. It's fucking goddamn.
oh yeah, yeah, Breaking
Yeah.
Bad, Malcolm in the
Yeah.
Middle, yeah. But like if you're finding a reason to hate on Bryan Cranston and he really didn't do
Yeah.
anything, then maybe you should check yourself.
Yeah.
Like I don't, it's crazy, man. I mean, there definitely are some situations where people should not have done what they did.
Yeah.
But let's not lump them all together. Louis asking for consent and then jerking off in front of a few women is not the same as Harvey Weinstein forcing actresses to blow him or to sleep with
Yeah.
him. Or he didn't, I mean, again, he didn't even force anybody. He was just like, hey, well, I think he kind of did. I think there's some gray area there.
Mhm.
I think in some situations he did. Some situations he used his power to coerce them.
Mhm.
But even so, it's like you really want to be a famous person, a famous actress that bad that you'll do sexual stuff with like
Yeah.
that
Right.
super gross dude. Super gross
Well,
dude.
people tend to not like to think for themselves like at all. So like whatever they see on like any media outlet, like especially like the Daily Show, I forget who does it now, but anything like that, like the
Trevor Noah.
Jimmy Kimmel show, all those kind of things. Whatever they make a joke about something and they have an opinion on it, and people laugh and they're just like, oh yeah, he's right, and they just don't like to like look into stuff and things. So like when the general consensus becomes something super negative like that, then people lose their endorsements when they really shouldn't. Like lose, yeah.
Well, it's kind of bananas too because you know there's a lot of double standards going on because there's a whole big thing going on YouTube right now where a lot of people their videos are getting demonetized for I guess who was it? Philip DeFranco, I guess a big YouTuber, and he made a video just talking about ways that you can help. There was some disaster he made a video on. He just talked about ways that you can help and donate and stuff like
Mhm.
that. And YouTube has a policy where your videos get demonetized if you are sensationalizing a disaster or something like that, or if you're like you can't make a video about a disaster because that's like exploitation or something like that. But his video was just about like how you can help,
Yeah.
and so they demonetized it. Like they just lumped it in and demonetized it.
Hmm.
All the while, I guess Jimmy Kimmel or Jimmy Fallon or one of the late night Jimmy
Mhm.
dudes had a video on YouTube about was not even doing what he did. It was literally just talking about it
Yeah.
as like a news story
Mhm.
and had videos playing before, during, and after, or ads playing before, during, and after, and that didn't get demonetized. So there's like a lot of this weird double standard shit. You know, it's like
Hmm.
too all these actors are getting attacked for, and as they should, they did shit they shouldn't have done. There need to be consequences.
Yeah.
I
Absolutely. Yeah.
again, the consequences should be the law.
Mhm.
We already have laws in place for this stuff. None of these people have been convicted of
Yeah.
anything yet. The rug's getting pulled out from under them. Um, but you know, I mean, you have the whole situation where like Roman Polanski, um, this he's like a super award-winning like director or whatever, legit like raped a 14-year-old girl like 20 years ago or something,
Wow.
and before he could get convicted, he fled to France and has been there ever since. And he all the while he's been gone, he's still been getting awards and shit like that. Like there's all these people who I was listening to a podcast today. They were talking about how like people who we already knew that they were scumbags and did like weird rapey shit.
Mhm.
People aren't freaking out about them. Like they're like the way they put it, they were like they're getting like grandfathered in. Like they're not people aren't re freaking out.
Yeah.
They're just you know what I
Yeah.
mean? I
Yeah.
don't know. It's super
Yeah.
weird. I don't know. It's so strange, man. Like it's all getting lumped together when it's all not the same thing.
Mhm.
It really isn't. And you can't even tell me that like okay, so if it everybody knew that apparently everybody knew that Harvey Weinstein was a super rapey, like sexually coercive
Mhm.
dude because it was literally in his contract that he signed with Miramax or whatever that was like, hey, if you have like it was built into his contract that if you have assault charge or sexual misconduct, people report it,
Mhm.
you have to pay us fines, and it was like escalating with every instance, and that was in his contract that he signed years
Jesus
ago.
Christ.
You don't put something like that in a
Yeah.
contract unless you fully expect it
Yeah. I
from
was
the
gonna
person,
say
or
like
at
what
least
the fuck
half
is
expect it. Yeah. Yeah, like if I were to sign a contract and it said something like that, I'd be like, what do you think of me? Like,
right?
am I giving you a reason to be concerned about this?
Like it's not gonna be a problem. I guess I'll sign there, but
So my point being that even though that everybody kind of knew about it,
Mhm.
he would still say to people like, "Oh, hey, you want to come up to my, want to come up to my hotel room after for a drink?" And these actresses would be like, "Sure, why not?" And then some weird shit would happen, and then they wouldn't talk about it forever.
Yeah. That's the thing too. The
I don't
amount of
know. I
time that goes by before they come out and say something. It's like if you really like were hurt, like emotionally devastated by it. I don't know. That's another perspective thing. Like, cause you don't want to come out with something like that. You know, it's embarrassing at the same time.
Yeah, I mean, I know it's embarrassing, and I know he has like a big team of lawyers, and he's a very powerful, rich person, so that kind of thing
Mm-hmm.
can be scary
Yeah.
to. But it's like, I guess once one person comes out, the other people feel safe because he can't attack everybody at once, and maybe,
Mm-hmm.
his people will pull away, his support system will pull away from him,
Yeah.
so he won't be as powerful. You know what I mean? Shit like
Yeah.
that. But it's like,
I think.
I feel like they have to accept some of the blame
Yeah.
for
You know why you were going in
going
that
that
room.
far with pursuing their career. You know what I mean?
You know why he invited you in that room, and you know damn well why you went in that room. That's why anytime I hear any like an athlete or anybody famous like that and some sort of allegation like this, I take it with a grain of salt because you know damn well
Yeah,
why you
it's
got
like,
invited in that room and you went in the room. You know what I mean? Like you know why you're there.
yeah, we all know how this shit
Yeah.
works. You know what I mean? If a dude's like, "Hey, you want to come up to my hotel room for a drink?" The odds are he's trying to hook
Yeah.
up. And if you're not down with that, say no and leave.
Yeah.
And if you're not sure, then I guess maybe, but like you got to know the
Yeah.
deal. You know what I mean? You know what's about to maybe
Yeah.
happen if you're gonna.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Obviously, I'm not saying you might be about to get raped because that's obviously nobody should walk around expecting
Yeah.
that. But like you can tell if a dude's trying to fuck,
Yeah.
like
Exactly.
especially if he's got a rep like that.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
again, all these dudes should not be doing that stuff,
Mhm.
and it's definitely reprehensible, and there should be legal repercussions.
Oh yeah.
But I don't believe for a second that any of those women are so stupid that they didn't see any of that coming, or that I don't know.
Yeah. No.
I don't.
They that.
I'm not trying to blame them, but it's like I'm absolutely not trying to blame them, but you gotta like. I'm not gonna assume that they're so stupid that they can't see the signs of something like that going down.
Exactly. Not
And don't be so headstrong with pursuing your career that you're going to even get that
right.
close.
Yeah.
I don't know, dude. It frustrates me,
Yeah.
And then the whole thing with Louis really bothers me because, like, I really do believe that he is a good dude. He's just socially fucked
Mhm.
up, and people who are socially fucked up tend to also be sexually fucked
Yeah.
up.
Yeah.
So I feel bad for him that he got lumped in, and I don't know. I think he'll be back. I think he'll be back in like 4 or 5
Yeah. I
years.
hope so too. Who's the man?
You know.
Yeah.
Because he didn't touch anybody. He
Yeah.
didn't, he asked for consent. He probably thought he was fine. And this is a long time ago too. Well, he wasn't even that big apparently when it happened, but
Oh yeah.
yeah, I don't know. I mean, he came right out and was like, "Hey, these stories are true. It did
He's
happen."
not trying to hide from it or anything.
No, he wasn't trying to hide it like from it, like a bunch of other people did. He was just like, "This is
Mm-hmm.
true." I bet the quote that I thought was really good was he said something like, I've basically been spending my whole life just saying whatever I want. And now I guess it's time for me to sit back and listen for a while. So I thought that was
Yeah.
kind of a noble approach to take, I
Yeah.
guess,
Definitely.
if there is one. I don't know. And it's hard, I don't know, it's hard too because it's like I'm not a woman. I don't know what it's like to walk around, you
Mm-hmm.
know, with that kind of weird pressure. You know what I think the problem really is that this our society is just so sexually repressed
Yeah.
that if somebody does something like that, the fact that it even like it's expected that it's gonna fuck you up mentally.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like if you're a chick and some dude does some shit like that to you and you just brush it off and you're like, oh, what an asshole or what a weirdo,
Mm-hmm.
you're the odd one out for not letting that fuck you up.
Right. Yeah.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? I think it's a there's multiple much deeper problems going on that like the dudes are sexually repressed, so they find these weird pressure releases through power to like get off or whatever. But at the same time, like the women are also sexually
Mhm.
repressed. So, sex is like this weird sacred thing.
Yeah.
So when somebody violates their sexual privacy, it's like world shattering, you
Yeah.
know? And I'm not saying I don't have sympathy for them because I definitely do, but I think maybe the way that we treat sex in American society could be healthier,
Mhm.
and therefore these things either A, wouldn't happen as much, or B, when they do happen, it's not gonna
Wouldn't
like
be so
rock your
traumatic.
whole
Yeah.
world.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that would be a good thing. I think that would
Mhm.
be because it's unhealthy the way we treat, sex and I don't know, shit like
Yeah.
that. I mean, it should, it's definitely I don't know, it's such a hard thing to talk about because it's like if a woman wants to have sex with like no strings attached with like a few dudes,
Mhm.
like she's a slut. That's
Yeah.
not fair.
No, not at all. Yeah.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like why do we frown upon that? That's not cool, man.
Mhm.
Like why is that not okay? If she's being safe, you know what I
Mhm.
mean? And you know what I mean? Like why is that not
That's
okay?
just like
But instead it's
ingrained,
like,
dude. That's just ingrained in like everybody's mind for some reason.
yeah, and it's not fair. And I think it creates these kind of situations where it's like the whole idea of like sex being so, so, so sacred that if somebody does something even mildly sexual to you and you didn't consent to it,
Yeah.
it's supposed to fuck your life up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like we create an atmosphere where these situations are going to occur. Whereas if we treated sex in a more healthy way,
Mhm.
like I said, then A, they wouldn't happen as much because it wouldn't be this like super sacred taboo thing in the first
Yeah.
place. You know what I
Mhm.
mean?
And honestly, that whole
I don't
Louis
know.
thing, like, it shouldn't be that traumatic for a chick to see. Like, how does that fuck you up mentally? Like, you just watch him be beat off so fucking well. I've seen two real
Well,
unpopular.
I think I think the thing is that it's not that they just saw him beat off that was traumatic. I think it was that this man asked to do a sexual thing and they felt pressured to say yes, and then they had to endure that thing that they didn't want to do. Even though they weren't touched, they still had to experience it. So that was traumatic, which I get. It's not really the simplicity of what he actually did. It's that he didn't realize it at the time, maybe, or maybe he did. I don't
Hmm.
know. I can't say because I wasn't there and I'm not him.
Yeah.
But it's the fact that those women were in a position where they felt pressured to give
Mhm.
consent, apparently, and they did, and then they had to endure this experience.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't see how they felt that
So
pressured by Louis C.K. Like, I know Louis C.K. is big, but he's not like huge. You know what I mean? He's not like.
he is now.
Is he like that level though? Like, where you feel pressured? Because I don't know.
Well, it wasn't. Well, the thing was, it wasn't even. It didn't even happen
That's what
recently.
I'm
It
saying. It
happened
happened when
like
he wasn't that
years
big.
ago.
Yeah. So that's,
So I don't really. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know a lot of details,
yeah,
but
it's not like
the
fucking
fact of the
Matt
matter
Damon or
is,
somebody coming up to you and doing that. Feel more pressured.
yeah. Well, who knows, man? It could be anybody
Yeah.
now. New shit's cropping up all the
Yeah.
time.
I saw Ben Affleck
I
or
don't
something
know.
was like, I glanced at it when I was scrolling through Facebook the other day. I don't even know what it was about. But there's something about Ben Affleck, like talking about all these things that we're talking about and how he's trying to make them not happen in the future or something like that. You know, it's Ben
Huh.
Affleck probably, he's gonna come out.
Yeah, who knows, man? The new Batman. I don't know.
Me neither.
How do I look at?
I haven't. Yeah, I haven't checked
Trying to see if anybody's watching right now.
YouTube or Twitch. Are you on YouTube and Twitch or?
I just checked Twitch. Nobody was
No.
on. Somebody's watching. It could just be me though. Um, yeah, I don't know, dude. This shit is super weird. I'm very curious to see what happens with
Yeah.
it. With who comes out next or what other, parts of entertain. I mean, I guess it'd be good if it just kind of spread everywhere.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because it's like we need to expose people who are doing shit like
Hmm.
this. Um, but at the same time, we need to be realistic about what actually happened in the context.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because we do have a problem of like a woman saying a thing happened and then us just taking her word for it going down
Yeah,
exactly
right.
like she
Yeah.
remembers, you know,
Yeah.
which is a dangerous thing, you know what I mean? Like firsthand experience is not a really great way to gather evidence.
Yeah.
It really isn't. And as ironic, I mean, as contradictory as that might sound, it's true. Like if you're like, "Oh, I saw that guy."
Yeah.
That's true like half the time, you
That's what I
know?
mean. You have to be able
Like
to
I
prove it. You have to be able to prove. You
well,
can't just say
that's the thing. Well, that's my whole point is that it's like, okay, if somebody sexually assaulted you or there was like sexual misconduct or something, like we have laws against that shit, go to the police. Like, I mean, I get, or just say no, or just
shit.
stay away from a dude that seems like a
Yeah.
creep, you
Yep.
know? Like, it's so easy to tell what people are
Yeah.
creepy. Just don't fucking stay around them. You know what I mean? Like, your is your career really so important that you're gonna endure some sexual shit that's gonna traumatize you for the rest of your
Right.
life? Just get the fuck out of there. Just get out
Yeah.
of there. Because otherwise, A, you're gonna end up in a situation you're gonna totally
Mhm.
regret, and B, you're enabling that creep's
Yeah.
behavior. You know what I mean? So it's like take the high road and just get the fuck out of there. Instead of just being like, well, I don't know, I really need the money or I really want to get on the cover of so and so
Really want this
magazine
part.
one
Yeah.
day, you
Yeah.
know? I don't know, dude. It's so crazy to me. But this is my white privilege perspective I'm talking from, so don't listen to me.
That's not beer you're drinking, is it?
It is
Yeah, I
indeed.
thought it looked like beer. Nice and
It's
dark.
nice and dark.
Yeah.
Mm. Scotch ale.
Ooh.
Yeah. Yeah, so I don't know. I think that's about all I have to say on the matter.
Yeah. Hopefully it's not
Um,
Rip Louie, because man, I don't want to see him go.
I really don't,
Yeah.
man. I mean, he's gonna be out of the limelight for a while. Um, but once he'll come back around. It'll take a couple of years. Let somebody else take the heat for a while.
Yeah. All right. Well, I thought I exited Discord, but apparently not, because these dudes are just spamming talk to speech. Hold on, I gotta get out of here.
Why do you hear that?
Yeah.
Oh.
All the fucking talk to speech shit they're doing is just okay. We should be
So I guess as a little experiment, I forgot to mention this to you, but I've been saving news items I've been finding on Reddit
good. Hmm.
for like the last week to potentially discuss on here.
Hmm.
So if you're down, I'll read off a couple of these. We can react to them.
Yeah, go for it.
All right. So the first one I brought up is couple sue after police mistake hibiscus for pot in drug bust. Let's see. Uh, so it says it all started when an insurance agent came to their home for a property damage claim and took pictures of hibiscus plants. The agent thought they were marijuana and gave the pictures to police. The officers pulled them out of their home in their underwear. Jesus Christ.
Wow.
So thoughts on that?
Well, that's like kind of what we were talking about too. Like you don't have to prove anything. Somebody just says something, and you instantly get your door batted down and get ripped out of your house.
Oh my God. That's crazy, man. How do you fuck that up? What is hibiscus? Hold on, let me see.
That's
Let me
what I was
pull up
about to
what
do too. I want to
hibiscus
look up
looks like.
Hibiscus.
Let's see. Hibiscus. You gotta you gotta be kidding me. Hibiscus plant?
Dude, it has flowers on it. Hold on.
I have a pic. I'm pulling up a. Oh wait, hold on a minute. It doesn't look anything even remotely like weed. Come on now. A lot of the pictures that I'm seeing are, I think, comparing it. Yeah, it's images
Yeah, I
from.
have like a couple side by side. like next to a marijuana plant.
Does it actually? It does kind of look like a pot plant if this is the case. Maybe there's multiple kinds.
Can I do? Oh no, that's on my second monitor.
Okay, so I guess if that does look that close, I'll give the guy a pass. But the police can't go arresting people based on.
Shit, I think I fucked up.
Nope, you're good.
Okay.
I see it. Yeah, okay, so good call.
Yeah.
Um, oh wow, so it took my video away. Well, that's cool.
Oh shit.
Um, so I guess that one that says 5 days ago there is a pot plant next to a hibiscus plant, and it's in reference to this actual article that we're talking about. And if they do look that similar, yeah, I mean, yeah, that's rough.
Yeah.
But yeah,
That's
the police can't go arresting people based on photos from an insurance adjuster.
right.
They have to go in there and they have to do their own
Exactly.
investigation. That's crazy. I guess this kind of ties into what we're already talking about, people getting persecuted for without actual police investigations. Like that's why we have laws. That's why we have
Yeah.
the whole I mean, granted the legal system is kind of fucked
Oh,
up, but
absolutely.
that's kind of beside the point.
Yeah.
Like this is people circumventing the legal system entirely and making decisions based on hearsay,
Yeah.
basically. Are you still screen sharing?
I can't figure out how to get it back. No
Fuck.
way. Hold on.
Uh,
No, not that. Oh, there we go. Stop share. There we go.
okay,
It's like a nice
cool.
big red button that I just completely missed.
You just overlooked it,
Yeah.
huh? Yeah, that's retarded, man. I mean, I bet they're gonna win, right? Because they for sure didn't do anything
Yeah.
wrong at all. I mean, did they have like five hibiscus plants under like a big lamp or something with like a bunch of foil around it? Was it did it really look like a grow up?
Did she? Okay. Yeah. Yeah. And then I'll be up in a little bit to put her to sleep. Sorry, G.
No worries.
Man.
Um, but I was just saying, I said, did this guy come in and like see like what looked appeared to be if it was a plant in a pot,
Mhm.
like nobody grows weed like that. If you're growing weed, you don't just have it like on your windowsill. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? You got like a lamp
Yeah.
and like it's not worth the effort if you're not gonna actually have like a situation going on. Like this guy, I would say, did this guy walk in and see like five hibiscus plants under a lamp with like foil,
Yeah,
like a
right.
foil box around them? Like,
There's like a bunch
did
of
it sm
fucking
did it?
metal halide lamps. Fucking,
Yeah, right, exactly. Yeah, did it smell like weed? That would be a
yeah.
giveaway. Those weed plants smell like hibiscus. That's super weird. I'm gonna call the cops.
It's crazy how different people are too. Because if I ever saw something like that, I'd be like, "Fucking nice, dude. It's shit." And other people are
Right?
instantly
Good for
like,
you
"Oh,
guys.
you want something illegal? What's that? Does it hurt anybody? No, illegal."
Mm. Hold on, I'm reading now that it's an elderly couple. Is that legit?
Elderly couple.
Oh, the woman is claiming she has severe emotional trauma.
Hmm.
Uh, so yeah, that insurance adjuster and the police in that town are all retarded for sure.
Definitely.
All right, so I got another one.
All right.
Florida woman accused of killing husband and hiding duct-taped body in the closet and walling over it.
Okay.
Ooh, this is a picture of her.
So she duct taped him after she killed him, and
So let's see.
why?
A Florida woman killed her 72-year-old husband and then went to great lengths to hide his body in her closet. Authorities have charged.
Let's say how
Uh,
she killed him. I'm interested.
let's see. According to apparently she killed him in self-defense after he was trying to choke her. Oh, she shot him.
Ah, nice.
But the trajectory of the bullet contradicted the explanation, so I think she just flat out shot him
And then she duct taped him
and
up.
was like, "What?" I guess duct taped him his whole body up and put him in the closet and bricked and drywalled the doorway,
Wow.
a closet under a stairway. How did
Harry
they?
Potter.
I'm gonna assume it. Yeah, right. I'm gonna assume that it was the smell. Somebody smelled something.
Yeah.
That's insane. How do you think you're gonna get it? You
Right.
can't just. Dude, a decomposing body is like the worst. Is the worst
Smell.
smell.
Yeah. You gotta
That's
walk
bananas, dude.
down those stairs every day, just knowing he's down there, all smelly and shit, duct taped up.
Right? Dude, there's too many sociopaths just walking around.
Dude, if I don't know. I always thought the best way to hide a body would just be to take him out in the ocean, fucking cement. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? Just
100%.
cement
Well,
shoes. Fucking
yeah, that would well, I've heard like if you have access to any pigs will eat
cut
anything.
the teeth, right?
No, I think they'll eat the bones and chew up the bones and
Yeah, I
shit
thought they
too.
left the teeth. I could have sworn I heard that before.
I don't
I
know.
don't
I'm
know.
not sure. Acid's always a good way if you get a big vat of
Yep.
acid. That's probably tough to come by
Yep.
though. But I mean, if you're in a landlocked state, you're not getting to the ocean.
Yeah.
Um, but I mean, realistically though, I feel like you could kind of just go out to the woods and bury a
Right.
body, and
Yeah.
nobody's gonna find it for a long
Just
time.
any relatively deep forest.
I'm
Just
saying,
go out there.
yeah, man.
I'd say you duct tape them up and put them on your staircase and cement.
In your own house, like you did not even try that hard at all.
For real.
You did not even try. Like how people are so dumb, dude. They're so
Yep.
dumb. You know, that's
Yes, they are.
I was having a conversation with Dave the other day, or not the other day, a couple weeks ago when I was at his
Mm.
house, and he ran me through. We were watching that new show on Netflix, Mindhunter. Have you
I
watched
haven't
it?
even heard of it.
Oh, dude, it's about it's a fictional show, but it takes place in like the late 60s or early 70s, I
Mm.
think, about when the FBI just started figuring out that they could like profile serial killers and like learn about their psychology.
Mm.
So it's about one of the like a couple of the guys who kind of spearheaded that whole research project.
Okay.
Um, but anyway, so we're watching that. It's a good show. You should check it out. But we were talking about the show, and I happened to say that like, oh, I was like, I feel like if I really wanted to kill somebody, I could probably get away with it. And he's like, no, you can't. And I'm like, what do you? And his whole argument was that like, if you're actually the kind of person that's going to kill somebody, you also cannot be the kind of person who could get away with it.
I feel like people have done it.
They have, right, but it's super rare. It's
Yeah.
very like it's definitely the exception to the rule when people get away with murdering someone
Mm-hmm.
because I mean, assuming that the police work is sound, which I guess is a big assumption to make, but if the police work is sound, because he just had me like walk through, he's like, okay, so who are you gonna kill? He's like, if you just wanted to prove to me that you could kill someone and get away with it, who are you gonna kill? And I was like, I don't know, I guess I don't know. He's like, well, how would you
It would
choose?
have to be somebody
I'm like, all right,
random.
it would have to be somebody random, but okay, then what? Then how do you choose? He's like, well, how do you know you just like pick a random house? And I was like, all right, well, like, I guess I would have to like stake out some
Yep.
houses. He's like, how do you know going in? You'd have to kill somebody in their house, right? Like at night.
Mm.
How do you know that they don't have a security system? How do you know they don't have a gun? How do you know they don't have a big dog? How do you know that they're definitely going to be the only one there?
We definitely had to do some homework, some research, like you said.
Definitely have to do
Nail
some
'em.
homework, but you also need to have an alibi for while you're doing the
Yeah.
homework, And he's like, how far are you going to travel from your house? How are you going to not be tracked? Like, are you going to drive a car there? Like, you're going to drive your own car?
Has he never
You
seen
know what I mean?
Dexter?
Like,
Dexter laid out the blueprint, set up the kill room, stake him out, and then what does he use? I don't. I forget what he used. That needle. I don't know what the shit is.
oh yeah, I don't
Yeah.
remember. I don't know. But he was like, he's like, if you were just trying to prove to me somebody that you could kill somebody, he's like, you should probably. He's like, how are you going to kill them? And I was like, I don't know. I guess stab them. And he's like, okay, so if you're gonna stab somebody, it's got to be somebody you know for sure that you could physically dominate.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm like, okay, well that really limits it. So I guess it'd have to be like some old lady, I guess.
I mean, I think you can do it.
You know what I
Stab
mean?
breath.
But he was like, but he's like, yeah, but the fact that you made all these decisions means that you can be profiled by that. You know,
Yeah.
like people can track it back. The fact that you killed an old lady, they would figure out your motive. Like, is this dude just trying to prove something? Like, it had to be somebody who could physically dominate, or you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, why would it be her? You know, it would probably figure out that it was like a person of smaller stature, or
Yeah.
like, I don't know. It's just, it was, he totally had me cornered. I had no, I thought for sure that I could argue my way out of it, but he just had an answer for everything that I said, and I don't know, it was interesting, but for sure, don't put the body underneath your own stairs in your own house,
Fucking Dave.
because for like if somebody gets murdered,
Mhm.
well, I guess they weren't doing an investigation, they just got a warrant somehow and found the body. Well, the dude had to be missing, right? I guess there must have been an investigation going on already.
Yeah.
The article didn't say anything about that, but I assume there was an investigation and they had a reason to go looking around, and she probably was acting weird,
Yeah.
and they got a warrant and found a spot that should have had a space and it was a wall.
Hmm.
They're like, this plaster looks fresh.
And the stench, dude.
But
Had to
like,
have been stinking.
yeah, for sure,
Had to have
for
been.
sure. Um, okay, so I got one
Okay.
more. Hold on, I need to read it real quick
Alright.
first. Okay, so on three hunters shoot themselves on Wisconsin gun deer opening day. So on the first day of the season where you can hunt deer with a gun, three different hunters accidentally shot themselves in Wisconsin.
um, were they in like a group or was it three separate occasions?
Three separate incidents,
Okay.
but they were in one day. So one of them, one guy was working on his gun and he shot. I don't know what that means. He was doing something with his gun. He shot himself in the ankle.
Mhm.
Another guy saw a deer and he just went to pick up his gun and he pulled the trigger apparently and shot himself through the leg. And another guy and another guy uh bent over and his holstered handgun fired.
Wow. How does that happen? It's holstered. There's like no way the trigger should be going off there.
Okay, so there's an interesting pattern here. Um, Two of the men were 49 years old and the other one was 51. So these all three of these men were essentially 50 years
Hmm.
old. What do you think of this is the significance of that?
I don't know. What? What do you think?
I can't chalk that up to coincidence. That all three of these men that accidentally shot themselves were the same age.
I mean,
Like, is that the age of like complacency and carelessness?
I guess so.
Where you just like, fuck it. Like, did you have a couple? Did they all like?
This dude picked up the second guy you said picked up his gun and shot himself through the leg.
He saw a deer. He saw a deer.
Hmm.
He was in his truck and spotted a deer. And he went to move his rifle and it went off, sending a bullet through his legs, both of his legs,
Wow.
and then the truck's seat and door.
Wow. So he had to have
He
grabbed it like the
goofed
trigger
bad, dude.
immediately off the table or wherever it was. He had to have grabbed it.
He was in
He's
his
in his
truck.
truck. So I'm assuming he had
In
some
the
sort of
cab of
gun
his
rack.
truck. I don't know, it must have just been on the seat next to him and he went to just grab it and maybe he just grabbed it right on the trigger.
Like you gotta be fucking
I,
retarded. How do you even go hunting and you do something like that? You should know
I don't
better.
know,
You
dude.
should know better. That's
I don't
insane.
know. I don't know. How come none of these mass shooters accidentally shoot themselves?
Right? You're fucking smarter than your average hunter, clearly.
I guess,
Fucking
right?
retarded.
Jesus. That's wild.
Be on all the psychotropics they want, they still don't fucking pick up the gun with their finger on the trigger.
Oh my God.
Wow. Oh, I doubt the gun just. No, the gun didn't misfire. It just shot. Completely shot.
I don't know, man.
Yeah.
Whoa.
223. And my trusty shotgun that never leaves my side.
What the hell is that?
The dark guy costs $1.
Oh.
Oh, in case anybody comes in here sideways. Gotta put him down.
You don't have a gun,
I
do you?
do have two. I have a high point 9mm carbine and a mini 14. This round right here was for the mini 14. 223.
Oh wow.
Yep. I almost got my
Yeah, I
pistol
don't know.
too. I went through all the steps. I think I've told you this before. I went through all the steps, and then basically you get a temporary permit, and you got to bring that temp permit to the state police barracks.
Right.
And apparently there's a window that you can do that in, and I didn't know that there was a window. I got like the letter they sent me. It didn't say you have to get it done by this date. It didn't say anything like that. And then when I went in to do it, they were like, "Oh, your temporary permit expired." I'm like, "What are you talking about?" And I had the letter there with me. And I'm like, "Look, where on this does it say that I'm supposed to get it done by this date?" And she's like, looking at it, and she looks at me and she shrugs her shoulders. I'm like, "Yo, you fucking kidding me? I wasted mad money doing this shit, and you're just gonna shrug your shoulders at me?" She's like, "Well, you gotta do it all over again." I'm like, "Yeah, fuck that. I'm good. I got 2 ARs.
So you just got turned off of the whole thing.
Yeah, I really want one too.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like I should have one, but
I mean, even if you're not a big
bothered.
gun guy, you never know. You never know when you're gonna need it. You know what I mean?
Well, that's exactly it. You know what I mean? It's like, okay, I guess I could easily make the argument because I do keep a knife and a sword right by my bed. But, and I heard somebody talking the other day, they were like, your children are like 4 times as likely to be killed by a firearm if you keep a gun in the house.
Maybe if you're super irresponsible.
Like, well, regardless, the statistic is true no matter your specific situation, but like of course, like you're more likely to interact with an object if that object is around.
You're more likely to fucking blend oranges if you have a blender. Like,
Right, exactly.
Okay, thanks for that statistic.
Yeah. Yeah, that's like this, the whole the safest way to keep people from killing each other with guns is to outlaw guns. That's not.
Yeah, because it's gonna
It's
stop
not
criminals from doing
not
what
the
they want to do. That's
problem.
why nobody does drugs anymore, because they're outlawed.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that worked real well for drugs. Insane, dude.
Yep.
Insane.
I don't know how alcohol
Yeah,
got
it's
a
like
pass too, and no other drug does. Like when the whole prohibition back in the day.
well, alcohol gets a pass because it's one of the oldest drugs. It's like so deeply seated in our society, you know?
But just like on the most basic level, like clearly prohibition failed. People were still doing it. It wasn't worked, so they stopped it. They lifted the prohibition.
Right.
It's the same thing with every other drug. People are still doing them. The war on drugs does nothing except waste tax money.
I think it's probably something to do with the fact that the lawmakers really like to drink
Yeah.
versus, you know what I mean? It's like regular citizens like to smoke pot, but that has really no bearing on what the lawmakers want to do, you know?
Such a shame, man. Ugh, I don't even want to go down.
Well, I think we're definitely turning a corner for
Yeah, I was
sure.
gonna say,
I mean, I don't want to claim that alcohol should be illegal because I definitely don't. I think people should have sovereignty to fuck their lives and bodies up
absolutely.
however they,
Absolutely.
but I think that everything should be legal if alcohol is legal
Absolutely.
because that's definitely one of the more dangerous ones.
Yeah, absolutely. I
I
think
mean,
out of all the back on the drug bums, alcohol is like the second most deaths or something like
danger.
that.
Yeah, probably. I mean, opiates is probably number one.
Yeah. It's crazy
I
how
don't
the
know. It's like well, the thing is, a lot of drugs would have like a real legit use if you could just go get them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If you're like, shit, like I only have an hour to clean my whole house, maybe I should go get one meth pill. You know what I mean, or something. Like maybe I should go get some amphetamines and I just need to bang out cleaning my house real quick. Like would that be so bad? Would that be so bad if people, you know what I mean? That's the thing. It's like there's a lot of caveats to that. It's like, okay, if people have their shit together mentally and they have their shit together in their lives and they're in a situation where a drug could help them with that situation, they should be allowed to do that. Like we're
Absolutely.
human, like
Yeah.
drugs are technology, you know what I
Mhm.
mean? Just like a computer and a car,
Yeah.
like I think it's not really fair that they're stigmatized the way that they are and that you're just a bad human being if you utilize drugs in any way.
Yeah.
If I want to watch a movie and I know that I'm going to enjoy that movie more if
Mhm.
I take a couple hits off the bowl
Yeah.
before I do it,
Yeah.
why does that make me a bad
Yeah.
person? And by the exact same token, like, if somebody decides that they write better music when they're on heroin,
So a lot of people tend to
why does
do
that
it.
make well, the problem is people are screwed up mentally and they don't have their shit together, so they get addicted to stuff
Yeah.
and then it fucks their life up, or it fucks their body
Yeah.
up. But your body can handle pretty much anything in moderation. I mean, it can handle a good amount of most things too.
Yeah.
But, if I eat pretty healthily and I get decent exercise
Mhm.
and I want to pop a Molly once a month,
Yeah.
it's not gonna it's not gonna fuck my body
Yeah.
up. You know what I mean?
No, I always believe that as long as you're not hurting anybody else or the environment, you should be able to do whatever the fuck you want to do.
Yeah, well, that's the thing, dude, is that it's like arguably the law should only exist to protect people from each
Mhm.
other, and I guess by protect the environment from us too. I could agree with that.
Mhm.
Um, so if that were true, then drugs should be
Yeah.
legal. You know, I don't know. It's like I think a lot about too. There's a lot of stuff going on right now with like I guess there's a big uproar. I'm probably going to sound super ignorant saying it this way, but the whole net neutrality thing that's going on right
Yeah.
now, I guess the FCC wants to repeal net neutrality basically, which is I have really mixed feelings about it.
FCC.
How inf how informed are you about this situation? Because if I could give you a quick update if you don't know.
Definitely giving you a quick update. But last I knew, it was under when they tried to pass it last time. It was under a different name. It wasn't neutrality. I can't think of what it was. SOPA. Is that it?
Yeah, SOPA and
Yeah.
PIPA.
That's it. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know if there's a name for it
Mhm.
now, but I think so if anybody's listening right now, which I don't think they are, just to give some clarification, the net neutrality is the idea that like all content on the internet is treated equally. You pay one access fee to the internet. There's tiers of speed to access the internet because there's different infrastructure and pieces of technology you need to use to access the different speeds. But as far as content, everything's treated completely equally. So if you wanted to start a website right now, everyone that has internet access would have access to that website. Period. Just by the same token that if everyone has access to YouTube equally.
So with the net neutrality, it would be like.
So net neutrality allows for that, which means that the internet is neutral.
Mhm.
It is not tiered or hierarchied in any sort of way. There's laws that ensure that. Um, if net neutrality is repealed, if those laws go away, what happens is your internet service provider could, for example, say, um, you pay for there are four internet packages, and the basic one lets you go on bullshit websites, and you have to pay the third tier to access YouTube and the fourth tier to access Netflix, and there'd be nothing that you could do about it. Um, which is based on nothing at all, and it would really only be an excuse for them to siphon more money out of your pocket, which is really bad. That would not be good.
They're gonna find a way
They'd
to
be
do it.
they'd
They're
be
gonna find a way to get the greedy.
well. So here's the thing. Here's the thing though. Here's my train of thought on the whole thing. Because I've heard this whole thing argued many ways, and as far as how capitalism and the free market are supposed to work, arguably we should not need net neutrality laws for this kind of thing to not happen. What will probably happen if net neutrality goes away is that that tier system will happen, but in probably about 5 years, it'll go away again, just because the free market will demand it. Because other companies will come along that will say, hey, use us, and we have a better situation than Comcast or whatever. The only problem with that, though, is that right now there's literally an infrastructure of telephone lines and shit that only certain companies have access to. So right now, the free market is having trouble fixing our internet problems we already have because people only have maybe two different options as far as getting their internet. They'll have like DirecTV satellite or whoever their local company is. I live in like a pretty big city, so I can, well, a small city, but it's highly populated. But, people like me and you have like multiple options, like Verizon, DirecTV, whatever.
Yeah. Other
Um,
people, it's like
but
Time Warner
people,
or nothing.
other people, yeah, yeah, other people have Comcast or nothing,
Yeah.
So that's really the problem we're dealing with right now, and that's taking a long time to sort itself out. Um, but there is an argument to be made that if the government steps out of the situation, the free market will sort itself out because at the end of the day, we as consumers vote with our
Mm-hmm.
dollars. You know what I mean? We say like, oh, if we don't like the way a company operates, we can just not give them our money.
Yeah.
The problem is that if we really need the service they provide and they're the only option, then we're probably going to suck it up and deal with it. Um,
Mm-hmm.
the optimist in me wants to say that if net neutrality goes away, somebody with a lot of money will invest in creating a company that will undercut all that bullshit
Mm-hmm.
and save the consumer because there'd be a lot of profit to be made without, that's the thing is that to succeed in capitalism, you don't need to be an asshole, but for some reason, a lot of people go that route anyway.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, I'm optimistic that if net neutrality goes away, it will still not be that bad after a little while.
I think it'll get there though. There's way too many
Yeah,
rapacious scumbags in positions like that where they're just going to be greedy as they possibly can. You know what
yeah,
I mean? That's why we're in the situation we are with a lot of things the way they are today, with like superstores and things like that. It's just not. There's no way somebody's going to see the opportunity to make all that money and say, "Nah, let me be cool instead." You know what I'm saying? It's just
well, that's the thing is that people there's a lot of pressure on the FCC to repeal it, so a lot of people can make a lot of
mm-hmm.
money, but there are people out there that have a lot of capital that realize, like I said, there is still money to be made without being greedy.
Yeah.
So if they come along and offer a service that is better, people will take it. But
Right.
like I said, the first hurdle to getting to that point is the infrastructure issue. I mean, the government doled out like billions of dollars in subsidies to the major infrastructure companies like AT&T and Verizon and Comcast and shit that maintain the infrastructure of our internet,
Mm-hmm.
and they just pocketed all the
Yeah.
money and literally did not upgrade. Like we by not even stretching your imagination, we should absolutely have fiber optic internet or at least broadband
Yeah.
access to every home in this entire
Yeah.
country. But the subsidies that the government gave out were just given out in bonuses to executives and
Mm-hmm.
shit, and there were literally no consequences for that happening, which boggles my
Yeah.
mind. I don't know how somebody didn't follow up on that. And I think I listened to a podcast that kind of looked into it, and there's just nobody has any answers, or people just won't talk about it. So that's really one of the big hurdles is that somebody would really have to take like, geez, I don't know, maybe like 50 billion, $100 billion,
Yeah.
and somehow install a new infrastructure to be able to start a company to undercut all the Comcast
Yeah. Yeah.
assholes, you know?
Somebody needs to do it
But
because there
yeah,
needs to be competition. There needs to be.
that's the thing. That's how capitalism works.
Mhm.
Competition will make the cream rise to the
Mhm.
top. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It, but if you have a law, capitalism can only function properly if you don't have a bunch of bureaucracy and laws getting in the way of the free market actually functioning.
Yeah.
And that's what net, I mean, arguably that's what net neutrality laws are. They are a law that gets in the way of the free market functioning in the way it's supposed to.
Hmm.
So the way, if if we want things, the thing is, laws just, if the government is in control of shit, it can be argued that it's better, but shit just stays the same for so long.
Yeah.
If you look at industries that have, think of like the cell phone situation. How often you hear companies going back and forth trading off new features that they have, or some T-Mobile will be like, how long do we have unlimited internet on cell phones for? Forever. And then bandwidth started to creep up and up and up and up, and people got Netflix on their phones and shit, and everyone's like, oh, well, no more unlimited
Hmm.
internet. Now you can only have a few
Yeah.
gigs. And then the smaller companies were like, well, fuck that. I'm using this as an example, but it's happened with many features we have with our cell phone contracts, that companies will say we have this awesome thing, and the people that are with the bigger companies that really do have all the control, not necessarily a monopoly, but like a biopoly or a whatever.
Hmm.
The major companies were like, well, shit, we can't lose our business to these small guys, even though we don't know if it is actually a threat, but we can't sit around and find out,
Right.
so we have to give that feature too. That's the free market functioning. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
That's
It's
what's
forced.
supposed to
You know.
happen. Right. But, the cell phone situation is a little bit easier because it happens over the air. You don't need to actually run wires to houses and shit like that.
Right.
That's why the internet thing makes me a little nervous, because even the optimist in me is still restrained,
Mhm.
that because I know that it would take a long time for the problems that already exist to be fixed before the free market
Yeah.
could, you know, fix the
Right.
problem. So, I don't even know where I stand on it. My inclination is to say let's keep net neutrality, but at the same time, it's like maybe we need to get rid of it and wade through the bullshit for a couple of years
I think that internet should be
until we
treated
really
as a
figure it out.
basic utility, like water and electricity.
Well, here's the problem with that. It, you know, if it's treated as a utility, it would still need to be privately run though by private companies, because I mean, I guess if it's treated like a utility, then the government would give out more subsidies, I guess, because your electricity is a utility, but it's not run by the
Right.
government.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
run by private
Hmm.
companies, but they get government
Hmm.
subsidies. So I guess there'd have to be just better oversight into how the subsidies get actually spent for the infrastructure, and then the privatized companies can figure out how they want to charge, or what features they want to give and stuff like that. That I'm fine with.
Hmm.
But if it's a government run thing, we all know government run stuff is very clunky to deal with, and sits stagnant in its the versions of it that get rolled out are very few and far
Yeah.
between. There's
Yeah.
things get stuck for a long time when they're handled by the government.
Hmm. No, absolutely.
So I don't know, dude. It's tough. It's part of me is like, less government is better, but part of me is like, well, people are retarded though, so
Yeah.
they kind of need their hand to be held.
Yeah.
You
No,
know,
definitely.
that's the thing, is that if like my whole thing is that there are so many situations about our society that really need to be revamped and updated, but we would have to go through a generation of just utter chaos
Yeah. Yeah.
before things got resorted out. Because the thing is that if you start pulling at any one thread of something that's wrong with what's going on in our country, you realize that all these institutions are so tightly woven together
Hmm.
that everything just starts crumbling when you start picking at it. But maybe that's what needs to be done. Maybe there has to be a generation of people who just have to figure shit out on their own, and shit is just utter chaos for it to resort into something that's better.
Yeah.
Because the fact of the matter is, so many institutions that our country relies on were created 100, 200, 300, 400 years ago, in various, parts of that
Yeah.
timeline. And the fact of the matter is, things are so different now than they ever have been, and they're changing more rapidly than they ever could
Mhm.
before. So it's not unreasonable to say that, the systems we rely upon are super outdated and getting more outdated at an accelerating rate all the time. So, like, do you try to the thing is, if you try to like change it slowly,
Mhm.
it would take so fucking long that by the time you fully changed any of the systems, things would be different all over again.
Yeah.
So it's like,
Yep.
do we just pull the rug out from under ourselves and fall on the floor? You know
Right.
what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, man. I
Yeah,
don't
dude.
know. I don't
That's a
know.
tough one.
Yeah, it's tough. It's definitely a tough conversation to have, for sure. I don't know.
Yeah. Oh, dude. All right. Well, I know my aunt
Yeah, let's
definitely.
wrap this
Yeah,
up.
she's definitely gonna want to go to bed soon because she wakes up at 4 in the
That's
morning,
cool,
goes to
man.
the gym like an insane person.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
All right, cool, man. Well, thanks for coming
Of
on, and
course.
yeah, we'll do this again soon.
Absolutely. Yeah, we should try to do it with like maybe Joey or Dave or somebody. Get like a little three-way going.
A
I want
three-way
to do
would
that.
definitely be
Yeah.
cool. Yeah, definitely. We'll discuss that in the
All right.
future. Um, I'm gonna uh I'm gonna stop streaming and then I'll stay on for a
Okay.
second. All right. Well, anybody watch, thanks for watching or listening or whatever.